How's it going, everyone? Taki here. Today we're going to take a look at the new X19 from PowKiddy. The X19 is the newest device from PowKiddy, and it shares the same aesthetic as some of their other devices with a few minor tweaks. The X19 uses a 7-inch LCD screen with moderately bad viewing angles. If you look at this dead on, the colors are really nice and vivid and bright, but unfortunately filming this dead on also means that it will reflect anything in sight, so I've had to get a little creative with the way that I recorded the footage for this video. The controls on this unit aren't as bad as I thought that they would be. The shoulder buttons can get a little sticky at times, but the D-pad and the ABXY buttons are pretty decent. On the back of the unit, there is actually only one spot that is being used for a speaker, even though the board has spots and contacts for a second speaker to be wired. The one speaker that's included in this is decent. It's just unfortunate that they didn't take the time to include a second one, given that the spot exists for the speaker to be mounted on the inside of the plate. If you've seen some PowKiddy models before, this UI should look familiar to you. It is unfortunate that you're not able to change these circles to different shortcuts, but it is what it is at this price point. We're going to kick things off with Game Boy, and as you'd expect, this system doesn't have any issues playing Game Boy games. The screen resolution that you're seeing right now, I think, is 720p, although I could be wrong. You have a few different scaling options when you're emulating these games, but I'm going to opt for the full screen option for every system that you see in this video. I didn't record a proper GBC game, so we're going to have to just stick with Pokemon Yellow for the time being. This game, like the other games in the series, in the GB and GBC era, definitely run with no issues, and they look very nice in the full screen resolution that you can see on screen right now. I tested about 50 GBA games in this video, but I'm only going to show a few of them. It can be a little bit of a mixed bag with this system, and it's not very consistent. Some games that you think wouldn't run at all because they're too demanding run with no issues, and then some simple games actually have the most trouble running. GBA era games are definitely playable on this unit, but you will experience some minor lag while you're playing. On screen right now you can see Pokemon Fire Red, and if you're used to this game you might be able to pick up on some of that yourself. I'm actually not that surprised this game runs as well as it does, since it runs very well on the lower power emulation systems that I've covered so far. This is the GBA version of the game. The SNES version doesn't run at all. When I made my community post about this product, a few people mentioned that they knew this system was good for GBA, and I'm not entirely sure that that's true. There were a lot of games that I played that had no issues at all, but there were a bigger portion that did have a lot of stuttering or didn't boot up at all. SNES performance on this is a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm starting things off with Donkey Kong Country 1 since it's the game that I've played the most on official hardware. If you've played this game a lot like I have, you will be able to notice some lag in the game on screen now. It's not bad by any means, and it's definitely what I would consider to be playable, but you won't be winning any speedruns on this system. I wanted to pick out one game that I knew wouldn't run at all, and this I believe is Kirby 3, and as you can see right now it's running as a complete slideshow. I tested out a few RPGs on this system and it was a little bit of a mixed bag. The simple ones like Mystic Quest run without any issues, but some of the more complicated ones run like a slideshow. This one's actually a big letdown for me since it's one of my favorite games on the platform, and it's one of the games that I would see myself using on this 7-inch screen. On screen right now is Link to the Past, and if you're familiar with this game on official hardware, you will notice that this is running slower than it should. Sega Genesis is probably the biggest mixed bag in this unit. A lot of games run really well, but some of the more popular titles run very slow. This system does include a decent Neo Geo emulator, but most of the games that I have inside this folder failed to launch. The system that I have actually does come with a ton of ROMs, but they're all in Chinese, so I don't really know which one I'm picking until I wait for it to load up. On screen right now you can see one of the titles that I think runs pretty decently on this system. Some of the older arcade titles run without any problem at all. I wouldn't really say that this thing can play PS1 games, even though you can see it on screen right now. I tested about 20 games, and only a handful played at decent frame rates, and the ones that did play were games with pre-rendered backgrounds. Anyways guys, that's it for this quick look on the X19. This device is actually not available yet, but I am interested. What do you think this thing should retail at when it does become available? I'll catch you guys next time. Taki out.